What should we do for us to get there? Because there was a prediction made by Dr. Adesina saying that by 2023, the agribusiness in Africa would have reached $1 trillion. So I'm gonna be just touching on that, on what he said. Is that can it be a reality or is it just a crazy prediction? What exactly might need to happen for it to reach $1 trillion? Of course, firstly, it's going to start off with the local level, which is your government, your national government. Of course, they have to come in. I mean, they have to come in and play their part. Financing is going to be the second one. The third one is going to be education. Starting off with your government, your national government of your whatever country it is, whether it's Namibia, South Africa, Botswana, Angola, Nigeria, they all have to come in and play a part. You know, in Namibia, what I can speak of is what the government has been doing in this country for the past, I think, 5-6 years now, is they started a scheme through the Ministry of Agriculture where they distributed community tractors. These community tractors were distributed, I believe, countrywide to each and every region to assist small-scale farmers to move away from using ox plows or using donkeys and to use a tractor which is much more faster, not labor intensive and modern. But with that project that was started, it came through its problems. Of course, you had its few problems where now the community tractor that was set aside to service an entire community of maybe 30 or 40 or 50,000 people only maybe services 6 or 7,000 people, and that was due to corruption from the local guys there themselves, because they would be paid. Of course, you pay for the tractor. I think you pay like $100, 100 rand for it to utilize it. But I think they would charge people more, and then those people's fields would maybe be plowed 5 or 6 times more than the other people. The lists were never really complete. There were a lot of red tape, a lot of issues there, accusations of corruption, of course, malpractice from the guys who were in charge of these tractors. And I think when the tractors would get damaged, I'm not sure if the cost was on the government or the cost was on the local community. So those were some of the problems that that the government came upon when it was trying to encourage small-scale farmers to utilize the community tractor and to try and practice other forms of agriculture. The other thing you have from government support also is they do certain programs which goes into education, where they try and go into the communal areas, try to teach small scale holding farmers how to farm their lands proper, how to use natural fertilizers, how to allow the land to recover and so forth, and how to invest in seeds that are drought resistant. These are things that the government has done over the past 5 or 6 years. But then, as I said, when it comes to government programs, there's always malpractice from the people who are supposed to be in charge of these things. And a lot of these things fail because sometimes it's not really, how do I say, it's a one shoe fits all approach sometimes the government has. For example, if they say we're going to give drought resistant white maize in the Zambezi region, you can't do the same in the southern parts of this country. You need to do something else. And sometimes I think their policies have been led by that one shoe fits all. So the government has a major role to play here, which is number one, make the environment, of course, conducive for people to farm productively, whether it's small or large scale, which is the biggest thing. Number two, encourage the local retailers, the stores in the country, the food hubs, the food storage facilities to buy local produce that are produced in this country. Of course, that's very important. It doesn't help a person planting potatoes, 50 hectares of potatoes, and no one buys them, and he doesn't have a market for it. It just becomes waste, because on the end of the day, you're investing, let's say, 10,000 Namibian dollars into planting potatoes, and you need to make at least a return of 5,000 from that. And sometimes you don't do that because the potatoes, or you don't do that because there's no one really buys your potatoes. You do find some farmers in and around Windhoek parking their cars on the side of the road, busy selling their produces, fresh produces, watermelons, and so forth. So there has to be government support there. Government support needs to sit down and tell the retailers, the local retailers in the country, that, guys, let's make it a 50-40 type of quota system. 40% buy local, 50% source out what the local people cannot produce. But if the local guys are producing potatoes here, there's no need to import potatoes from South Africa or potatoes from Zimbabwe or potatoes from Botswana. I know even though our president was saying that we live, unfortunately, in a time where we need to encourage trade among SADC nations. So I feel like government policies need to be there to encourage the local retailers, the local stores to buy the local produce. Number two, government needs to give support. I said the tractors, but need to make that these tractors are fairly distributed amongst community members, that you don't have a situation where one group or one family group gets to have this tractor maybe 10 or 30 times more than other people, and the other people each just get one opportunity for it to plow for them. Number three, it's of course also to, as I said, number three goes back to number one, a market where these people can sell their products, and to make sure that people do get a fair dollar for what they produce. You know, it doesn't make sense you spend 10K on planting potatoes and you can only get 3K from what you're selling. It doesn't make sense. So they need to pay competitive prices. The second point that I'd love to go on to, still talking about this, getting the Namibian agricultural market to reach $1 trillion in future. What can we do? Financing. Financing is a major thing. Of course, it's major. It's huge. Money plays an important role, whatever business it is you want to do. It doesn't matter whether it's agricultural or you want to do real estate or you want to do mining or you want to do manufacturing. Finances play an important role, and sometimes the amount of finance you have and the amount of finance you put into the business can actually determine how much income or how much profit are you going to make from it. Not always the case, but sometimes is the case. You know, financing has been a big issue for a lot of startup farmers. I mean, new farmers who are coming into the business, small-scale farmers, communal holding farmers, the communal lands now which are in the northern part of the country. We have some in the southern part of the country. The reason being that some of that land is state-owned land. You can't go to Agribank, or you can't go to Standard Bank or Bank Windhoek or FNB or Nedbank to try and go get a loan to buy a tractor using state-owned land, because the land, you do not own it. You don't have a title deed on it. So it makes the financing problem a bit difficult now for communal small-scale farmers. Commercial guys, most of the time, they own the farms. The farms are commercially owned, meaning this individual has the title deed for this farm and can go to the banks, and banks are a bit friendlier to him to give him the loan for him to buy the tractor, the implements, the tools that he needs, the drought-resistant seeds, the pesticides, and so many other things that he needs to make sure that his harvest is his harvest is 100%, compared to a small holding farmers in the communal area who might not have that luxury of saying that, look, I have 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 hectares of land. I'd love to put that down to be able to obtain a loan from the bank. The bank would look at you and say, but sir, you don't have a title deed for that land. So the government can come in and say financing. Of course, they have done that in the past, whereby with communal land, I mean, not communal, but with resettlement farmers, where the government has come out and said, we're going to give you a loan of 1 million Namibian dollars for you to just help you start up so you can start getting your projects into position. I think what happens with that loan is also misuse of the loans, because some people obtain these loans from the banks and sometimes don't really use them for what they intended to. You know, you in your form you applied, you said you want to buy a tractor, a brand new John Deere tractor that might cost you 800,000, or a class tractor that might cost you 800,000, including its implements and everything, and you get that $1 million loan. You don't necessarily go buy the tractor. You maybe go buy a fancy car, you build a house, or you invest it in another real estate business, which ends up leading you to defaulting on the loan. You can't pay it back, and the this agricultural bank wants that loan back. So when it comes to financing, the financial institution, the government, which should start, of course, from a government position, need to pass a bill that says communal land can also be used as collateral for you to obtain soft loans from your agricultural bank or commercial banks in order to do agricultural business. Because what you're going to do on this farm, you're going to invest. What you're going to do on this piece of land, you're going to invest, you're going to plow, you're going to plant grapes, you're going to plant apples, you're going to build an orchard, you're going to build a citrus farm, such as a farm full of vegetables. You're going to do this. So they need to say that, okay, there's financing available for that through their various institutions, and a person can access it. Sometimes You don't necessarily need to have a house or own a physical property outside the communal area you can utilize, as I said, that small 50 hectares, 60 hectares. The size of your land, the hectares, will determine how much of money you'll be able to get. You'll be able to get to buy this tractor, to of course make sure that you buy the right implements, the seeds, and to make sure that this tractor gets serviced and it's able to plow all year round. And also to make sure that you are being a productive individual on your small scale farm, small scale piece of land, wherever it is. Coming to the third point, education. Of course, education is important. I've always hammered on this point, whether it's cattle, whether it's crops, whether it's breeding of fowls. You need education, because every day, brand new methods of farming come out. Through education, innovation arrives. Through innovation, you need education. To obtain innovation, you need education. People need to come from a background of where they can speak from knowledge. Bringing back agriculture, of course, is a course of study in school, because right now in some countries, including mine, only selected schools actually still offer agriculture as a subject. Not everybody offers agriculture as a subject, because as I said, through education, innovation is born. We need to innovate. We need people. We need smart, intelligent individuals, men and women, who have taken the time to read the hundreds and countless of books and write the hundreds and countless of exams to bring back this idea, so we innovate. Better through education, we can do better improving of our plowing methods. Some individuals still use traditional plowing methods, which could be very intense on the soil and cause damage to the soil in long term, removing so many nutrients. Through education, can we start practicing crop rotation, improving of different crops, rather than just planting white maize? We also look at planting yellow maize, or we plant some sunflowers, or we plant some garlic, potatoes, and tomatoes, just to allow the ground to recover the nutrients it has lost from your heavy produce of white maize. Through education, can also look for environmental friendly methods to farm, not really damaging the natural ecosystem, the environment that we find ourselves in. Because right now, when you talk of, I need to set up a 50 or 10 hectare piece of land just to plow maize, you still find people using the old method of slash and burn, which has been shown recently that it doesn't really help. It just causes more damage to the natural ecosystem. So on the education part, it needs to be hammered home that agriculture as a curriculum needs to return in certain schools, needs to also be offered in certain universities, private colleges, private institutions where people can learn. AgriBank, being the land bank here, can also offer, which they are doing, offer various educational programs on agriculture and how to improve it. Because I was just talking about the green form of farming. Now let's talk about farming holistically in all its aspects: cattle, livestock, animal husbandry, as it's called, animal husbandry, and horticulture. In education, education needs to be there for us to better improve how we breed our chickens, for us to better improve what feeds we're giving our chickens, to make sure that our chickens are not eating food or feeds that have either animal products or have too much hormones in it. Because people are becoming health conscious nowadays. They don't just eat anything. They need to know exactly where this chicken's from, what has this chicken been fed, does it have any hormones? Because these hormones in 5 or 6 years do have a negative effect on your body. So we want to make sure that the chicken or the piece of beef we're getting on our plate is hormone free, 100% naturally fed, and has not been, people go as far as the way it was slaughtered, has not been slaughtered in a very inhumane way, but has been put down in a humane way. Horticulture, as I'll say, with education, we improve the method in which we protect the vegetables, the onions, the vegetables we're planting against pests like rabbits, warthogs, rats, and so forth, and birds, rather than flying over your field and spraying so much pesticide that you literally kill an entire flock of birds, or you kill so much rabbits on your farm that now that a natural ecosystem has been destroyed. Because remember, everything plays its role in the natural ecosystem, in the circle of, as they say, the circle of life. Everything plays its role. So we need to improve. Of course, with improved education, can also improve the methods in which we farm. As I said, we might not use the older methods of when you're plowing with a tractor, plowing a piece of land, your hose go a bit too deep and they dig a bit too deep. which causes a lot of problems. Maybe now your hose don't need to go there deep; they just go breach the bottom half of the surface, which I believe is a better way of doing it, rather than your hose going very deep, and after you've harvested your plants, these deep gorges are still there because now the soil has been destroyed and it can't go back to its natural methods. That can only be achieved when people are educated and are taught how to improve. One way also could be, I hope this will be clear, I'm going to draw a little hill. Another way that through education can we be taught that when you plow, there's a hill, there's a little mountain, a little hill. Let's call it an ant hill. Let's say an ant hill, right? Rather than plowing this way, this is your hill, this is how you're plowing. You're destroying, you're busy destroying, you're causing damage to that hill. You know, you're causing some damage to the hill. Rather than planting this way, through education, you can rather plant with the hill, which means go around the hill. That can be achieved through, as I said, that can be achieved through education. This is very important. With education, this can be taught and people can actually practice that in their daily methods of farming. Because I see it now a lot of horticulture farmers in South Africa do not plow anymore in the rectangular method. Triangular, rectangular, they plow more in the circular method. And I've been told the reason they do that is because it gives better harvest and they don't really damage the soil that much. So they always change the methods of plowing, whether it's rectangular or circular, which is quite interesting. It's very interesting to see a maize field that's planted in a circle method. That can only be done with a tractor. It's possible probably with animals. When you are still planting, I think it's possible probably with animals when you're still planting with your oxen or your donkeys. I think you can achieve it, but it'd be a very interesting thing to do. The second point, as I said, financing. Finances are very important in agriculture. In any business, actually, money is important. It plays a key role. Without money, you can't really get the business off the ground. You know, without money, you can have the piece of land, but if you do not have any capital to invest into this piece of land, you can't really plant that apple. I know you can say it's simple to plant an apple, but to put the seed in the ground, yes, it's simple, but the upkeep of that seed in the ground till the time it germinates and it grows to a point where it can start producing apples. There are, of course, things you're going to have to do. There, of course, the pruning, of course, the making sure that what is available for it, protecting it from pests, making sure that the tree is healthy, that it doesn't catch a virus or so. So there are all these things. So finances are important in that method, and making sure that you pay people that have the knowledge and the skill to make sure that your apple orchard is kept 110%, that it's running and it's kept to a point that your apple trees grow to a point where one day you can actually pluck an apple from it and eat it from the tree. That is very important with why, this is why finance is important, even with livestock. With livestock is the same thing. You need money to be able to invest in quality. To be able to invest in quality, to bring quality to your farm or village, you need money. As I said, the first point, which was your government, your government of your republic, needs, of course, to come in to make sure that policies are passed that are very local producer friendly, in terms of they are able to assist you with methods of getting your products from your farm to the shelves of the store, to someone's house, to someone's pot. That's the only way, because right now, when you still live in a country such as mine, where you still go into shops and you buy fruits and veggies that come even as far as Europe, doesn't sit well, because what happens to the local producer? He's unable to sell his products. He's unable to sell his products and he's unable to make money. So, unable to return investments, unable to return the investments he did for him to be able to do his farming business. So the government of the various republics play an important role in making policies that get the farmers the market they need, get the farmers the financing they need, get the farmers the support they need, getting the farmers the support and the education they need, because it's very important. So they play a major role in this. So those are my 3 points. I hope I didn't just talk all kind of random stuff. I hope I did make sense, and I would love to hear from you guys' comments, your comments and opinions from this video. And this is the first of many leading up to winter now. I'll try to make more videos every day, so the page gets a bit more context. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and comment.